What's going on, guys? And apparently when I do this, it's funny. By the way, some people think that's funny when I do that, so I'm gonna do it from now on. Do this with my hands. So, that being said, we're gonna move right into the review because I don't have a lot of time. My nose is all messed up, so I want to get done with this as quickly as possible. So there's not much to be an intro about. So, If It Rain is now an Evoke Chainer and line. I think you can cross out the finisher part because I thought maybe his own burst would be a finish. No, it's a chaining move. So ignore the finishing portion. My bad. He has 200% magic TDH, 150% magic true wield. He has the Ifrit zone buff, very similar to Terra's. But he only has that one where Terra has 3. He's basically a more accessible version of Terra. I put that in quotation marks because he's a Summon Fest unit, so of course he's not completely accessible, but he's more accessible than Terra. And his Brave Shift moves seems pretty strong. He's a chainer, Burst chainer, so pretty good overall. I do feel like he's pretty strong comparable to Terra, at least. Very comparable to Terra. No new actives in his normal form. Only 4 turns on his Brave Shift. And no 6 times cap, so you don't need to put 2 True Wield on him. It seems like a waste. And you know people are gonna tell me, like before with Fenrir Edel. Okay, he has mod buffs in his normal form, but it's nowhere comparable to his main damage, his Brave Shift form, not even close. So what am I gonna give him? I think I'm gonna give him an 8 out of 10 because he has the Ifrit buff, which is much more. It's better than other buffs because it boosts fire magic damage to all your allies, so that's pretty good. It's separate from other buffs. So there's that, and yeah, I think he just has a pretty good kit. You can fire Evoke Chain. Of course, the main problem with that is the no killers, but if you can make him strong enough, I think you can do about as much damage as like some with killers would do. But you would need a lot of stuff. You would need a whole lot of stuff, basically. You need a lot of Evoke stuff to get him to be good. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for him. Moving on. You have Draconian Fina, Neo Vision Awakened, permanent quad cast in a Brave Shift form of Force. We're only talking about her Brave Shift form and not anything in her normal form because her normal form is outdated and didn't get enhanced or anything like that. 200% magic TTH. I won't mention I guess I will now. She does have 150% true to wield, but her STMR is two-handed. So no need for true to wield, especially on this one. And she's a light evoke damage dealer, but a chainer instead of a finisher like Terra. Has a pretty good hit count of that, and it's pretty strong. She has ways of increasing the evoke gauge and the burst gauge, and also she has this Bahamut Zone effect. But there's some problems. No infinite turns, just like If It Rain. No passive killers in a Brave Shift form. Oh, I guess she doesn't really need it. See, that's my sleepy mind. So people are gonna comment that saying Evoke usually don't use killers. That's my sleepy mind's doing that. Oh, there's no killers? Oh. I'm not used to all these Evoked stuff coming out now. There's so much Evoked units that are just suddenly becoming Evoke damage dealers because of the hype of Terra. So it's easy for them, just make them Evoke damage dealers. And like I mentioned, no 6 times cap because she's no, you don't need to go true to wield because her STMR is two-handed, so might as well just do that. So I'm gonna give her also an 8 out of 10 because she is strong. She can be a very strong damage dealer. Probably not as strong as terror when she's finishing, but I mean, no one can compare to that. So, that being said, 8 out of 10. Another accessible thing, she has the Bahamut Zone effect, which is something interesting and different. And also she has 200% bonus stats when equipped with Bahamut, of course, as you would expect. I didn't write that down, but there's that. See what happens when I'm sleepy, when I make my review. I put no passive killers when she's an evoked damage dealer. So please don't scorch me for that one. I know someone will though. Someone's gonna scorch me in the comments for that one. But I didn't write it for the Ifrit rain one at least. So I was half on the money with that. My webcam is blocking the name, but this is the Cleom and Akstar combination duo. Their STMR is very, very good. Very high attack. I'm not so impressed with the kit though, I'm gonna be honest, and let's get into it first. They have infinite turns, 200% TDH, which is nice. Ice and Dark Element and Ice Dark Element boost. Each side gets a boost. And 150% AoE Human Killer, which is remarkably strong, like really strong. You can just bring them along and just use that for a buff. You could use them for Dark Visions or something and just use that as a buff. If you really wanted to. Lone Burst Tag Attack, and also Dark Tag Attack in our Brave Shift form, just, you know, not Lone Burst. The Lone Burst is not an elemental, so you can imbue them with something. That's something. The Brave Shift form is more of a finishing, you know, and 50% Demon Killer and 200% Human Killer passive, which is pretty high, but on the opposite side of things, there's not a lot of human bosses right now. So the Human Killer is kind of wasted, but it's there in case it does happen. There's a lot of downsides with this unit, which I'm really disappointed with, and it comes with only one move that they decided to not do. So, Cleom's side, basically, or however you want to call it, like you guys know how Cleom works. If you don't know how Cleom works, she basically chains and she finishes with herself. She does she gives herself mod boosts. She chains once and then she finishes, so it does a lot of damage. But the problem with that is, in this version, she can't do that. She cannot even triple cast her finishing move. It does not work. She can only single cast her finishing move. So she can't self-cap or self-chain or self-finish, whatever you want to call it. Can't do that this time. I don't know why they did this. I really don't know why they did this. It really makes me upset because I was looking forward to using Cleom again, but then they do this. So it's like, why? So, and their elemental boost is not as strong as the last one, Reagan's. There's a 15% versus their 30%, which is really high. But at the same time, they don't need Lone Burst Gauge in order to use their 15% elemental boost. It's just there. But on the other hand, it's Reagan and Last Wolves is not Grady's ability. It's available. It just costs Lone Burst Gauge. So it's kind of like a mix and match. But anyways, they really messed up the Cleom part of this unit. It's like someone who didn't really wasn't here in the Cleom era or something made a unit very similar, but they forgot to include her finishing in the triple cast. So that ruins a lot of things, but they're still really strong. I just think that ruins it for me. So my score, because of that aspect, is going to be 8.5 out of 10. That just ruins it for me. But I'm sure they'll be still really strong. Their Lone Burst is a very strong Lone Burst chaining tag attack move and stuff like that. And sure, they could be. I think they get like a 300 something times mod as with their finishing move, but they can't triple cast it. So you can only single cast it. So you'd have to like dual them. And is that really worth it at that point? No, I don't think so. I think it would just be better just to run a different finisher instead of having to make this one try to be a finisher. So the biggest problem is, obviously, like I mentioned, not being able to triple cast the finish. Like not being able to use 3 of it. I just want to use 1 of it with the chaining. Can't even do that. So the finishing aspect just seems weak to me, but it's still probably really strong. You'll probably see it on all the spreadsheets, stuff like that, but I just feel like they ruined the part of Cleom that I liked, of course, other than the sprite in the unit itself, the part where she can self-finish, so she doesn't need a finisher, she is her own finisher, but they ruined it. So 8.5 out of 10 is going to be that score. And finally, we've got, once again, I'm blocking, sorry. I'm blocking, you can't see it. We have Soul and Dark Fina combination unit. Their STMR is very good because the only thing that gives true to wield in terms of an equipment like that is whips. So we finally have a 50% true to wield rod, and don't remind me of Morgana's because that's only 25, it's garbage. Yeah, at least we have 50% now. So 50% true to wield, 6 times cap. Wonder where we're gonna get that 50% from. Hint, hint. My voice is starting to go down now. 150% AoE, demon killer, physical or magical. So another very similar to Akstar and Cleome, except it's demon killer instead. Fire, earth, and dark chaining. So they have 3 elements they can use. Olympus tag attack, it's dark, and also earth tag in the brave shift form. 70% damage versus broken enemies, and that means the break gauge, not broken enemies in terms of being a breaker. Break gauge. So I've already demonstrated how strong that can be with the other tag units, the other duo units. It's really strong. It's impactful. It actually means a lot. 200% demon killer passive, which is important, probably for upcoming stuff, and also for the demon chimera trial. And 50% human killer, which is not as important right now. 200% LB damage buff, which is really high. They have some dark, fire, and earth resistance, which is nice. It's always nice to have that. And also, they don't rely on Olympus gauge gimmicks to deal damage in chaining, like with Fistless. So that's always a plus. And also, they have infinite turns, like I mentioned, unlike Fistless, who does not. The only con I can think of is you would be reducing your damage for 1 turn, but you would have 135% Earth Imperial for 1 turn. And the reason why I say losing damage is because, well, I mean, you could cap their chain, I guess, or finish, because their Olympus is only 1 hit in every shift form, but you get that 135% Earth Imperial. So you could if you have some support chainers. It's more possible nowadays than ever to have support chaining in your team. So you could do that. You could finish with their Olympus, and then have that 135 Earth Imperial, which is really high. That's the highest in the game, I'm pretty sure. Before 130%, this is 135. That's pretty high. So you'd have to make it work somehow if you wanted to do that. So my score, I like that they don't have to rely on their Olympus to deal chaining damage, unlike Fistless. I think I'm gonna give them a 9 out of 10. I think that's really good. I think they're gonna be much better than Fistless for Demon Chimera, of course, because they can, big attack and stuff like that, and all that kind of good stuff. So overall, guys, let me know what you guys think about the banner. Which one are you looking forward to? I think most people said they were looking forward to If It Rained because they got a lot of them, and he is definitely a thumbs up by me. My score may only be 8 out of 10 for him, but that's still a very good score. And remember, guys, if anyone's new to my channel, 7 out of 10 is like the average baseline score for me. I know it's really weird, but 7 out of 10 is like the baseline for average. Anything below 7 is probably not going to be as good. Anything above 7 is going to be very good. So 8 out of 10 for If It Rained is very good. And just as a summary, I think this banner is pretty good. I don't think it's as strong as the last one because both units were like strong top tier units that you'd want to get. Whereas this one, you really want to more get Soul and Dark Fina more than Cleom and Akstar, which saddens me because I was looking forward to another Cleom unit, but they're probably still really strong. I'm sure you can just ignore the finishing aspect of their moveset and just use them as a chainer, and I'm sure they'll be really, really strong. And I'm looking forward to trying pulls for them. So, if you want to watch some pulls live, make sure to follow me on my Twitch channel today, or just any day if you want to see some pulls in the future. If you watch all the way through to the end of this video, make sure to type in #Cleome, because at least she deserves something. So #Cleome will be the keyword. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Please give a like on the video if you liked it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.